I'm interested to hear everybody's insights on prevention because it sounds like just from scratching the surface, there's a lot that can be done. And, Carolyn alluded to this before, that sort of your largest vulnerability is probably your workforce and your employees. And Bill, I'm wondering if you could sort of, on the breadth of your experience here, talk us through what you think are the most vulnerable parts of an organization. Perhaps it's employees, perhaps it's other, weak points in employees or in organization systems.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll break it into two items. Number one is technical perspective, and we're going to call this patch management. All different organizations have different operating systems, different types of technology. When new patches come out, the question is, what are we doing from a maintenance perspective to make sure that we're patching them correctly? And are we keeping up with the technology that's within our environment? Currently, right now, a lot of what we're seeing deals with VPN appliances, such as FortiGate, SonicWall, and others, that unfortunately threat actors have figured out a way to leverage them to get into networks. Those particular vendors have come out and stated that you need to patch these applications, and here's what you need to do. So the information's out there. The question is, has the organization done what is necessary in order to patch that? Case in point, this year alone, in early March, Microsoft Exchange on premises basically came out and told the world that we have a vulnerability. Here's what you need to do to run and fix that. Still today, we are still getting new clients that are coming in that are saying, well, you know what, I forgot to patch it and the threat actor got in and this is what they've been able to do. Now help us out. Well, the communication went out. The communication said, you own X, you need to fix X. And if we just would have done things from a patch management perspective, we wouldn't be in this tricky situation. But that's things that happen, like what I call the people side of the house. We get busy, we're not focused on it, but for a lot of organizations, if you would just do the proper patching, a lot of these tricky situations wouldn't happen. Now let's move to the people side of the house. We love our employees. We love them in the aspect of, they work for us, we trust them, they do the things that we need for them to do. Unfortunately, our employees also cause us a lot of pain and suffering. And on the suffering side of the house, when you get to social engineering, it's amazing how people will respond to certain emails. And your threat actors are out there constantly looking for trigger words in order for you to react to an email. Remember, they need you to do something. So it's like, this is urgent. Your password's expired. You have a package from FedEx. Here's the latest COVID-19 results for you. And employees are curious and they'll sit there and go, oh, well, I should click on this link, or I should enter in my username and credentials. And we're not thinking about it. And from a psychological perspective, and I study a lot of psychology, I bring this up because your threat actors are constantly looking for that psychological aspect to trick you, unbeknownst to you. Once they kind of get into a network, they will take over an account. Let's just say someone that's in the accounts receivable department or that can transfer wires out, and they'll jump in the middle of a conversation. So if I'm conversing with you within the organization, you actually think it's me, and I'm like, oh, by the way, can you wire out, $1.5 million for X? Well, the controller asked me to do it. I'm just going to do it because that's part of my job. But, there's a lot of aspects that we need to push back on those types of things. Pick up the phone. I can't emphasize that enough. We're such a transactional, get it done. We don't want to talk to anybody. We're like in our little huddle of ourselves, like, oh, I can't talk to somebody. Just pick up the phone. Do you need the $1.5 million? Do you need those Apple gift cards? Why do I have to scratch them off in the background? Those are just things from, if you look at it from a phishing perspective. I think the other thing is that's just phishing. There's also what we call smishing, which is text messaging. There's really no filters on that, and your threat actors are now moving to that. So if I receive a text, I'm more than likely to go ahead and provide information to that. And then there's vishing. That's voicemail. So Christa, I'm going to call you today, and I'm going to pretend to be from Microsoft, and there is a virus on your computer. Now, the odds are you're likely going to freak out and go, why did the Microsoft representative call me? There's got to be something on here, but it's actually a threat actor, again, trying to trick you in order to do their bidding. So if you could, from most organizations' aspect of it, when we look at this from a prevention perspective, it's getting that training that's necessary to kind of go through these simulations. And if we do that, we can eliminate a lot of the human error that's happening. And there's a lot of statistics out there, 60, 70% of all breaches happen through, human error and things of that nature. Would I agree with that? I think it's more in about the 50% range, but it's a good amount of it. And a lot of it, again, like I said, can be prevented. We all make mistakes. I just had a client recently that bought a new firewall. Well, they didn't configure it correctly. And within a matter of hours, a threat actor had figured out how to get in the network because they didn't put the proper configurations in. Margaux said it correctly. You put anything out on the internet, within 5 minutes, you're getting a free pen test. That's true. A lot of your TAs are just trolling and looking for kind of what I call the foot faults that are out there. You misconfigured something. Okay, now the TA is going to try to take advantage of that. So, if we just have a little bit more training and teeth in that training, I think as organizations try to prevent this, they'll be a lot better.
It's about making employees feel like they're part of the process, right? Because there's nothing that, we want to make people feel and incentivize them to say, like, this is actually a priority for you too, right? This isn't just all the, everybody at the top. This should be an employee and every employee problem, right? Security, and we talk about the first line of defense. Hey, clicking on those emails, being able to take a look at the domains, right? Because as you click and hover over an email, this is certainly something to be taking a look at, precautionary. Who are the major targets? Accounts receivable, HR, who's got a lot of the data in those emails, right? Who's got access to a lot of things, right? Who is going to constantly be a target? When everybody went remote during COVID, this was a large, we had such sophisticated, business email compromise, and certainly the phishing that was associated with it. You want to take a look at the COVID, as Bill said, the COVID statistics, things like that. Or here, look, this is an email from your HR. Click on the attached, right? And would send you to another link, or ones that would ask you to re-enter in your credentials. It's a very, very common occurrence. And then they grab those credentials, and then, then they move on to their merry way of getting into your system. And in terms of wire transfer, and Bill said it correctly, pick up the phone, put a protocol in place, to pick up the phone. I know when we were all working remotely, people would say, okay, we'll change it to my cell phone, and change their phone numbers at the bottom. Come up with a PIN code that in the event that you ever were to change a bank code, come up with a PIN code, come up with a secret code, or something along the lines of that nature, right? In order to kind of prevent some of this. Now, we say all these measures, and there's only, so much that we can do in these scenarios, but definitely take advantage of the services that are out there.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, you can click through to the next video right here. Also, if you'd like to stay up to date on more videos like this, like, subscribe, and follow.